Tonight, the Marilyn statue is still in New Jersey with no update on when it's expected to arrive in Palm Springs. On Friday, a judge affirmed the city can move forward with installing the 26-foot-tall statue on Museum Way. But the committee to relocate Marilyn says its fight is still not over. I spoke today with designer Trina Turk, who helms the committee. Trina, it's great to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
First off, I want to get your reaction to the judge's ruling that cleared the way for the Marilyn statue to be installed on Museum Way.
Well, of course it was disappointing, but we maintain our position that Museum Way is not the right place for the Marilyn statue. And we hope that the city and PS Resorts will revert back to the original location in the park. There has been a lot of community discussion, as I'm sure everyone is aware about this. And I think that what we're proposing is quite reasonable. We're not saying that we don't want the statue in Palm Springs. All we're saying is that we want her to go back to the original location in the park that was part of the 2016 downtown plan.
Now, I noticed you have a shirt on, I should point out, that says #MeTooMarilyn, obviously referring to the Me Too movement. When I first interviewed you about the Marilyn statue, you didn't really want to talk about that part of the statue because you said you were more focused on sort of what the city had done leading up to that statue. But now, are you sort of switching gears and talking about whether or not the statue is appropriate?
Well, I make clothes for a living, so I thought a t-shirt was called for in this case. And there's a change.org petition that has been started that has, I think it has over 24,000 signatures. That's basically chastising the city of Palm Springs for considering putting up this statue, which many consider to be sexist, misogynistic, an example of upskirting, which in some countries and states is actually a crime. So I thought, wow, 24,000 people, that's a lot of people. And they're using the hashtag #MeTooMarilyn. So I jumped on the bandwagon and made a t-shirt.
Oh, okay. So just so I'm clear though, Trina, is it that you don't want the statue on Museum Way or you don't want the statue in Palm Springs at all?
No, our CREMA, the Committee to Relocate Marilyn, our stance is still that we want the statue to be moved off of Museum Way. If the statue goes back to the park or another location in Palm Springs, I will shut up and you will never have to talk to me again.
Well, I wouldn't want that to happen because I love talking to you, but I just wanted to make it clear because if the argument is that it's not appropriate, then why have the statue at all in the city? If it's like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our position has always been a bit of a compromise, which is we don't want it in Museum Way. I mean, a lot of the people who have donated to CREMA are people who are from the architectural community, and we've worked for 20 years to preserve the mid-century modern architecture of Palm Springs. That in itself is also a really big tourist draw. So the idea that, we're going to block the museum, which is one of our finest examples of mid-century modern architecture, we've been fighting, we fought for the corridor from Palm Canyon to the museum. So it just sort of seems like after all this work, we're not just going to say, okay, yeah, you put it there. We just want it somewhere else.
Today, we just found out that the statue, it's still in New Jersey. It's been delayed. Coincidence? Your thoughts on that? Are you still hopeful that your efforts will help prevent it from coming here? Or is it pretty much inevitable at this point?
I have no idea what's going on with the statue itself. I just hope that the delay will give PS Resorts and the City Council some time to really realize what's going on in the community. I mean, there's outrage in the community, and I think that it's spilling over into this bigger conversation about the appropriateness of the statue in general.
I recently spoke with Palm Springs Mayor Christy Holstage, and I asked her some of the points that you made in regard to putting it on Museum Way and sort of the lead up to that statue. One of the things that she mentioned to me was that she felt like she never heard any criticism about this statue prior to the announcement that it was going where it's now going apparently on Museum Way, that she felt like this sort of blindsided her in a way. Do you disagree with that?
I do disagree. I know of many people, and many people have emailed me after we started CREMA to tell me that they had sent letters to the city council back in November and that they had not really received responses. I mean, in some cases, they would send a letter to all 5 council members and they might have received an auto response from one. But I guess the main point about community feedback is that there was another meeting called for, and there was a city staff report that called for an additional meeting to be had. And that's why we originally hired an attorney, was to just inquire, when is that meeting going to happen? And the city's response was basically that they weren't going to have the meeting. And so I think that the mayor's statement is a bit disingenuous, because there was a third meeting that was called for by a city staff report that never happened.
Okay. Trina, we appreciate your time. Good to see you again.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank you.
for joining us.
Bye-bye.